I'm Jay Taylor. I'm the editor of Jay Taylor's Gold, Energy, and Tech Stocks. I'm also the host of a radio show called Turning Hard Times into Good Times. I'm here at the Metals Investor Forum. It is January 18th, 2019, and I'm really blessed to be with Chris Taylor he's a pretty well-known person these days, a lot better known than he was when we made our first interviews, I think. But congratulations, Chris, and on the success you're continuing to have. And it's sort of, I would say, mind-numbing success almost, because let's talk a little bit about let's talk about the drill hole that you put down. I think it was maybe 10 meters of true width, but there within that was some just, almost unbelievable numbers. Talk to us a little bit about those numbers and what the significance is in terms of the big picture.
Well, it was the first time that we'd seen on this project over 50 ounces per ton gold, which is, I think a lot of people will drill their entire career without ever seeing that amount of gold come out of the ground. It was astronomical. We knew that the project had that potential, but now we've seen it actually come out of the ground. So, and it's only about 150 meters vertical depth. So it's practically at surface.
Easy to get to.
Yeah. So, we're very happy. Generally in Red Lake, you look for ore intervals at other deposits tend to be about 20 gram meters, 30 gram meters,
right.
So multiply the width by the grade. I mean, this is, this is 1,000 gram meters, that interval.
It's nuts. It's crazy.
It's way more than it needs to be comparable to some of the best stuff in the district.
Well, those are obviously the top numbers you've drilled so far, but just as soon as I think I'm not going to see anything better than that, you come out with something higher grade, and you're still relatively close to surface, as you say. A lot of comparisons with Red Lake, the famous Red Lake that was the company maker for Goldcorp, basically made Goldcorp, and I remember very well those days, geologically speaking. Can you talk to us about that? As you continue to do more work, are you seeing more or less evidence that it's sort of a typical, almost like Red Lake?
More, and some of the evidence, it's amazing when it comes to light. Just last week, we had a sit down with a former OGS geologist who's now a professor. He was responsible for a seismic survey, which basically details the deep crustal structures in our area. So they did a seismic survey across our project and the main Red Lake mine trend, and they saw there was 2 locations in the district with very big, deep-seated structures. One of them was the main Red Lake mine complex, which is a great deal of ounces of gold, probably well north of 20 million ounces produced there. And the other one was our property.
Really?
So there's 2 locations where if you didn't know anything about the district and you did that section and went in for the first time, you would be looking for big deposits. One of those is our property, right? So that was an interesting piece of information to come to light. So my partner and our VP Exploration, Bob Singh, will be talking about that at the Roundup Conference in about a week and a bit here. So I'd encourage anybody to attend that talk. And the other one is the context of our gold. There's these big regional D2 folds that seem to be associated with those deep structures. The high-grade zone at the main Red Lake gold mine is developed around one of these big D2s. So is the gold system that we're drilling at Dixie Lake. So the more drill work that we do, the more we see it's similar to the other sort of big gold deposits in the area.
And you recently did a 3D model that people can look at to sort of identify some of these structures that you're talking about, the D2 and others.
Correct.
Very helpful, I think.
I think so, yeah. Hard to explain this way, easy to explain with
a picture.
Yeah, that's right.
So how much of the target, talk to us a little bit about this, what you know about the size of the target, the structures and how far they might run along strike and so forth, and how much of that have you explored so far?
Well, there's a number of targets actually. So we've got one of the D2 fold axes, the one that we're working around right now is about 10 kilometers long on the project. It's a big target. There's another major structural target which is over 10 kilometers long on the project. We've already drilled it. It has gold in it. We had some 12 to 20 gram material in it, and then there's other D2 fold axes. Each one of those has many kilometers of strike length potential. Some of them intersect very favorable geology. There's a big ultramafic body that we found last year, which intersects the same one that we're on right now, actually, the drilling. So there's a whole number of these potential targets on the project, of which we've done very little of that step-out work, but it will happen in 2019.
In 2019, you're gearing up for a pretty big program as I understand it, you're funded for not only this year, 2019, but 2020 as well.
Yeah.
A lot of money in the bank.
Yep.
How much work will you be doing? How much drilling will you be doing? And will you primarily be interested in stepping out and seeing, sort of get a big picture of what you might have there? Or might you be looking to do some closer in drilling for a resource sometime in the future?
Well, potentially both, Jay,
Yeah.
right? Obviously that's something I think we can benefit our shareholders in two ways. One is showing the big scale, the other one is showing what we have in the existing areas. So the 30,000 meter program that we've already announced would be about 150 holes. We have about $15 million in our treasury right now, but we have another $8 million of in-the-money warrants that are largely owned by Rob McEwen and ourselves in management. So that should bring in, on a fully diluted cash basis, that's about $22 to $23 million. So that's a lot of drills.
Yeah.
That's potentially, well over 100,000 meters of drilling before we'd have to go back and necessarily go to the market again.
Right. So you're really looking at a very shallow structure. I know the Red Lake Gold Mine was mined before Goldcorp really found the enormous richness to depth, and I think the structures might have been somewhat wider at depth for Red Lake. Is that true?
They certainly saw. I mean, they had very good grades at surface, but the high grade zone was at 2 kilometers vertical depth, and that's really the numbers you quoted to me, right? Those were the best in that mine. So the highest grades were the deeper stuff, right? So the structures that we have, based on the seismic data and the drilling that we've done, it looks like they could go down for kilometers as well. So certainly we have there's nothing that would restrict us from having gold over those distances. We just have to test that out with drilling.
Yeah, and why not continue horizontally? I would imagine a lot cheaper than both.
Yeah.
You'll put a couple of deep holes down to test it probably. But,
we've drilled down. Our deepest hole is about 360 meters vertical. The deepest one on the project's about 450 meters. The gold's is still going there. So I would imagine it'll keep going for some time.
A question that I have to ask is, how far are you going to take this yourselves? I can't imagine with these kind of numbers that none of the big guys are even aware of you, I'm sure, right? No. Of course, they're probably there. I'm sure you have some meetings scheduled at the PDAC that are coming up. I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm a shareholder.
Yep.
And I don't want these big goons coming in and taking these shares away from me before they should.
Yes.
How are you going to make sure, because I know you're a shareholder and I know that you want top dollar on it.
Yes,
You're
for
a big
us to
shareholder.
make money on it, we need to have the shares perform well.
Right, and you're structured such that I suppose you have some defense, because you only have,
37 million shares.
37 million, and they're in fairly tight hands?
Yep, 37 million shares out. It's a 47 million fully diluted roughly. So the concept, and who knows if this is the case, but the concept was to be able to generate a lot of gold in drill core and potentially some sort of generate transactional opportunities with a sub 50 million share structure, right? So that's how you'd benefit shareholders, is results mixed with structure. And I think that's what we've been doing, and that's what we'll continue to try to do with Great Bear.
You sure have been doing it, and in spades now. So what should we be looking for? It's too early 2019. I guess we just constant drill results probably? You're going to have them coming out in batches probably?
Just steady. I mean, I can't think of another company in our shoes who will issue the same amount of drilling, So we'll be going to 2 rigs here shortly. Probably by, I guess we just heard the second rig is available by about mid-February. So then, we're already drilling 120 meters a day with run rigs, so 250 meters a day of drill core. I mean, it's a phenomenal rate of production. So that will generate a lot of numbers and a very steady stream of results.
And you're able to get the turnaround on the assays fairly quickly? How's that working out?
Yeah, that hole that you mentioned, the 50 odd ounces per ton, that took us 3 days to turn it around.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so obviously we won't do that with every drill hole because that's rushed and costs more money, but generally you're looking at weeks, not months.
Anything else you'd like to add before we conclude our conversation? I don't know what else you could say. It's just sort of spectacular.
Well, I'd like to extend thanks from Great Bear to you, Jay, for picking us up so early in the story last year.
We always have plenty of people to thank when we have success, and Gwen Preston was one of the first I know, and she brought you here, and I've thanked her for helping me out there like that. So
it shows that you know, the industry is not perfect, but it's not totally broken either.
No.
You know, people can make money when they pick the right company with the right asset.
Right. So. Discoveries, the real money, not mining people, but mining gold or discovering gold.
Yes.
I mean, it's both have been done, I think, at times in the past. And Chris, I know you're a very honest person, and your company is obviously very well regarded for good reasons. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Jay. We have a very good team. Let's thank them for the success that we've had.
Absolutely. I realize that.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thanks very much.
Thank you very much.